Hey there, I'm Emma. So, we're going to talk about healthy lifestyle tips. I know. You've probably heard it a million times. Drink more water. Get more sleep. Eat your greens. It can start to feel like a checklist handed down from some stern, universal authority. A list of chores for your own body. And the moment something feels like a chore, we humans have this wonderful, rebellious instinct to not do it. We push back. We procrastinate. We eat the cookie at midnight, and then lie awake feeling guilty about it. So today, I don't want to give you a list. I want to explore an idea. What if a healthy lifestyle isn't about following rules? What if it's about a single, simple shift in perspective? Think of your mind and body not as a machine you need to constantly fix and fuel correctly, but as a kind of house guest. A very permanent, very sensitive house guest that you are hosting for your entire life. You are the host. Now, how do you treat a guest? If a dear friend was staying with you, you wouldn't just throw junk food at them at random times and expect them to be happy. You wouldn't blast loud music when they're trying to sleep. You wouldn't force them to sit perfectly still for 8 hours straight, then suddenly demand they run a marathon. That would be awful hospitality. You'd ask, "Are you comfortable? Would you like some water? Would you like to go for a little walk to stretch your legs?" You'd be considerate. You'd be kind. That's the shift. A healthy lifestyle is simply the art of being a good, kind, considerate host to yourself. It's not about punishment or deprivation. It's about hospitality. Let's start with the most basic thing, the body's whispers. Your house guest is constantly communicating with you. A pang in the stomach? That's not an annoying interruption. It's your guest saying, "Excuse me, host, we might need some fuel soon." A feeling of heaviness in the afternoon? That's your guest saying, "The energy reserves are dipping, maybe we could move a little, or have a light snack?" A tightness in the shoulders? "Host, we're holding a lot of tension here. Can we maybe breathe into it?" We're so trained to ignore these whispers. We override them with coffee, with sugar, with scrolling, with just pushing through. But pushing through is like your guest politely coughing and you turning the music up louder. So tip number 1, which isn't really a tip but a practice. Listen to the whispers so you don't have to hear the screams. The scream is burnout. The scream is a panic attack. The scream is a physical injury or illness. Your body is incredibly patient, but it will eventually raise its voice. Start by checking in just 3 times a day. Morning, afternoon, evening. Pause. Take one breath. And ask, what do you need right now? The answer might be truly simple. Water. A stretch towards the sun. A 5-minute break to just stare out the window. This is the foundation of everything. It's mindfulness, but let's not make it a fancy term. It's just house guest management. Now let's talk about food, because this is where we get really strange with our hospitality. We treat food as reward, as punishment, as comfort, as enemy. But for your house guest, your body, food is just information and building material. It's the quality of the bricks and mortar you're using to repair and maintain the house every single day. Imagine you're building a beautiful, resilient house for your guest. You wouldn't use soggy, rotten bricks, right? You'd choose solid, good quality materials. That's whole foods, vegetables, fruits, grains, proteins. But here's where the kindness comes in. Sometimes your guest craves a cupcake. And a good host doesn't say, "Absolutely not. Only organic quinoa for you." A good host says, "I hear you. That sounds like a joy. Let's enjoy one, together, with presence and pleasure." You eat the cupcake. You really taste it. You savor it. You thank it for the joy it brings. And then you move on. The problem isn't the cupcake. The problem is the 20 cupcakes eaten in a haze of guilt and distraction, where you didn't even taste the first one. That's not hospitality. That's neglect. This is where psychology dances in. We have this inner child, this younger part of us that sometimes just wants the shiny, sweet thing. Denying it completely makes it rebel, like a toddler throwing a tantrum in the supermarket aisle of your soul. But giving it everything it wants immediately creates a spoiled, unwell guest. So you negotiate. You become the wise, gentle parent host. We'll have the nourishing soup first, because that will build strong walls and give us steady energy. And then, we'll have a small piece of the cake for pure celebration. It's not a rule. It's a conversation. And movement. Oh, we've turned movement into such a chore. I have to go to the gym. I have to run 5 miles. If your guest was feeling stiff and sluggish, would you force them onto a treadmill and shout faster? Probably not. You might say, hey, the air is nice outside. Shall we go for a gentle walk and see what's happening in the neighborhood? Movement is not punishment for what you ate. It is a gift you give to your house guest. It's the joy of feeling blood circulate. It's stretching like a cat in a sunbeam. It's putting on music and dancing ridiculously in the kitchen for 2 songs while dinner cooks. It's remembering that your body is an animal body, designed to move in playful, varied ways. The philosopher Nietzsche, who had a magnificent mustache and some intense ideas, said, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking." He wasn't talking about sprinting on a treadmill while watching the news. He was talking about the rhythmic, meditative, gentle hospitality of walking. It's a way to clear the house for your guest. Let me tell you a small story. A few years ago, I was treating my own self with terrible hospitality. I was working constantly, eating at my desk, drinking endless coffee. My shoulders were up by my ears. I was forcing myself to do brutal workouts I hated because I should. I was a terrible, tyrannical host. The breaking point was tiny. It was a Sunday. I was making a to-do list for the next week, and I had written "Be healthy" at the top in all caps, like it was a military directive. And I just looked at it and felt this immense sadness. It felt so cold. So I crumpled the paper up. I didn't make a new list. Instead, I went to the kitchen. I made a cup of tea, not coffee. I held the warm mug in my hands. I walked slowly to my couch. I just sat and drank my tea and looked out the window. I hosted myself to a moment of pure, simple peace. And from that tiny act of kindness, everything else slowly began to change. Not because I forced it, but because I started listening. That leads us to the quietest, and perhaps most radical, aspect of health: rest. We live in a culture that worships busyness. Rest is seen as laziness. But for your house guest, rest is not optional. It is essential maintenance. Think of sleep not as lost time, but as the nightly renovation of your guest's rooms. During sleep, the memories are sorted, the cells are repaired, the mental clutter is swept away. To disrespect sleep is to have construction workers trying to fix your house while you're still holding a loud party inside. It doesn't work. And rest isn't just sleep. It's doing nothing with intention. It's the space between the notes that makes the music. The modern world steals our rests. It fills every silence with a notification, every idle moment with a scroll. But you as the host can protect those spaces. You can say, for the next 10 minutes, we are just going to sit and breathe. No entertainment, no productivity, just being. This is incredibly hard at first. The mind throws a fit. It wants stimulation. But you gently hold the space. You are hosting silence. This is connected to something the Stoic philosophers talked about centuries ago. The concept of ataraxia, a state of serene calmness, unruffled by external events. They weren't talking about ignoring the world. They were talking about creating an inner citadel, a well-hosted inner space, that could remain peaceful even when outside was chaotic. Your healthy body, well-nourished, well-rested, well-moved, becomes that citadel. The storms of life, the stress, the bad news, the disappointments, they will come. But if your physical foundation is shaky, if you're exhausted, fueled on junk, and tense, that storm will blow the house down. If your foundation is strong, you can watch the storm from your window, feeling the wind shake the panes, but knowing deeply in your bones that the structure will hold. The calm isn't the absence of the storm. It's the strength of the house. Do you hear it? The journey from frustration to flow. The mix of science and soul. The short sentence. It's a language without words. That has impact. The longer description of being present. This is how we talk about our inner lives. With simplicity and depth. Hobbies also connect us. When you share the true why of your hobby, you invite someone in. You're being vulnerable. You're saying, this is what brings me joy. This is what challenges me. This is what makes me me. And that is an incredible gift to offer in a conversation. It's an invitation to genuine connection, far beyond the weather or latest news headlines. You might find they share a similar passion, or they're inspired to look for their own. You become a mirror, reflecting the possibility of a richer inner life. So the next time someone asks you about your hobbies, see it not as a question, but as an opportunity. An opportunity to explore and express who you are when you're at your most authentic, your most playful, your most human. Don't just list activities. Tell a tiny story. Share a feeling. Mention the smell of old books if you love reading. Describe the ache in your muscles after a long hike and how it makes you feel alive. Talk about the silly, failed cake that taught you to laugh at yourself. Because in the end, our hobbies are more than what we do. They are how we practice being alive. They are our rebellion against the mundane, our personal ritual of joy, our quiet way of shaping our own souls. They are the brushstrokes with which we paint the portrait of our inner world. So cultivate them. Protect your time for them. And when you speak of them, speak from that quiet, joyful place inside you. Let your voice soften with the memory of flow. Let your eyes light up with the memory of last Saturday's project. You are not just telling someone you bake bread. You are telling them that you know how to create warmth and nourishment, and that you understand the patient alchemy of waiting for something to rise. And if you ever feel that blank panic again, just breathe. Look inward. And ask yourself the simplest, most beautiful question. What makes me feel like me? The answer, spoken with honesty, no matter how simple, will always be amazing. Okbai.